Now, as you've been hearing over the past hour, it looks like a deal has been signed in the Middle East, with Hamas agreeing to release all hostages and Israel withdrawing troops to, quote, an agreed line. Here to explain what it all means, I'm joined by Geoffrey Miller, geopolitical analyst with the Democracy Project, which is hosted by Victoria University of Wellington. Hi, Geoffrey.
Good afternoon, Jesse.
We are sort of used to false hope with this war. So is this any different to previous announcements of a breakthrough?
Look, I think it is a breakthrough. I think it is good news fundamentally. We do have a deal. It is the first phase of a deal, as Donald Trump has said. It is not the full implementation of that 20-point peace plan that was released last week. That was very detailed. This looks like it will be a simple swap. You will have the 20 living hostages released probably on Saturday, and Israel will withdraw from around 70% of the Gaza Strip. And most importantly, we will have a ceasefire, and it will be the third ceasefire of the war. Remember, we had an early ceasefire back in November 2023. There was also a ceasefire in January and February. Both of those collapsed. We hope that this one will last.
Just on that, by the way, on the RNZ Live blog, we're reporting that Al Jazeera says there are Israel jets over Gaza City as the ceasefire news broke, that they carried out a raid on Gaza City as that news, the ceasefire breakthrough was breaking. Did you see that, and what did you make of it?
Indeed. Look, the ceasefire has been agreed upon. It hasn't been signed officially yet. It will go to the Israeli cabinet later today, and there are reports that it will be signed officially at 12 noon local time, 12 noon in Cairo, 12 noon in Jerusalem. That is, by my calculations, around 10 p.m. tonight in New Zealand time. And until then, yes, the war will continue, and there are still lives being lost in this war. But that hopefully the ceasefire will go into force shortly after that time, so probably around midnight tonight, according to the reports that I've seen. But we wait and see. That there's a lot of water to flow under the bridge yet with all of this, and we have had, as you said, false hope before, but it does seem like this is the deal. It is the first part of a deal, and we could see peace and at the very least a ceasefire, and hopefully the freeing of those 20 living hostages. And there will be another component to that, and that there will be around almost 2,000 Palestinians released as well. That includes detainees that have been Palestinian detainees since the beginning of the October 7th war, but also 250 Palestinian prisoners who are in Israeli jails serving life sentences. So there are lots of components to the deal. One thing we don't have any information about is Hamas's disarmament, and it seems that has been kicked down the road to the second stage, and there will be a lot of details to be worked out about the future governance of Gaza. Remember, the peace plan that Donald Trump put out last week contained a lot of information about a board of peace led by Donald Trump and with the involvement of Tony Blair and an international force. None of that will be part of the first phase. That will come later. This really is a ceasefire plus some extras, and some pretty important extras, such as the freeing of the hostages and the withdrawal of Israel from a good portion of the Gaza Strip.
What are we watching to see if this sticks? What's the, the sign to look for that this will actually last and will be progress?
Well, we've just got to watch and see that the ceasefire indeed holds. I think we should keep our expectations low. I'd be very happy to see simply a ceasefire last, and then we've got time and space to work out some of the details. That's the conventional way wars usually are ended. Donald Trump is anything but conventional, though, so he's been pushing this peace plan with a whole lot of details that includes a ceasefire in it, but it includes a whole lot of other things. I think we should be focused primarily at the outset on the ceasefire, on the freeing of the hostages, on the Israeli withdrawal. If we get to all those parts are implemented, then we can move on to the next phases, which will be more complicated. So there are a lot of details to be worked out, and I think from Hamas's perspective, what they have been concerned about in the negotiations is that they will give back the hostages, and then Israel will go straight back in there. So there's some suggestion that there have been guarantees provided ultimately, most importantly from the United States, but also a number of other countries in the Middle East, primarily, to stop Israel from going back in there once they've got the hostages.
To that, Jeffrey, one of our listeners asked, why is Trump in the middle of this? Why is it him making the announcement? Can you just, I know there's a long answer to that, but what is the short answer? Why did we hear this from the President of the United States?
It's all about Donald Trump, this deal, because Donald Trump ultimately is the only individual who has any leverage or control over Benjamin Netanyahu. That's really the long and short of it. The United States has all the cards in this conflict. They have had from day one, and particularly so now. It's all about Donald Trump and his power that he has to convince Benjamin Netanyahu the time now is right to do a deal. And we've had all the reports that have come out about the supposed frustrations from Donald Trump with Benjamin Netanyahu. I think we should treat all of these claims with a bit of skepticism, because I think they are quite aligned in lots of ways behind the scenes. But at a surface level, there does seem to have been some tension between the two, and Trump wants to brand himself as a peace president, quote unquote. And the White House has just put out a post with a photo of Donald Trump calling him exactly that, the peace president. So it really is all about Donald Trump projecting himself as the man to solve this conflict once and for all.
Thanks for your analysis, Jeffrey. Really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Jesse.
Jeffrey Miller from the Democracy Project. Let's take a little Marvin Gaye to take us into the news. The live blog on RNZ continues.